So how did Houdini become the great Houdini? Well, his name wasn't always Houdini. He was born Eric Weiss, W-E-I-S-Z, Budapest, Hungary, yet he always told the entire world that he was born in Appleton, Wisconsin. He always wanted to be an American for a wide variety of reasons. When he was a young boy, his family immigrated to Appleton, Wisconsin. Houdini then actually saw this magician, Dr. Lin. Dr. Lin inspired him. When he was 9 years old, Houdini starred in the local circus, Jack Hoffler Circus. Houdini had to provide for his family in a wide variety of different ways, and he followed his father to New York. That's when Houdini joined the Richter's Tie Cutters factory, and he met this magician, Jacob Heyman. They were only young boys around 15, 16, and they started an act called the Brothers Houdini. They got the name Houdini from Robert Houdin. He was known as the father of modern magic. You add a little I at the end and you become Houdini. So the brothers Houdini split up, and then Houdini started working with his brother Dash, Theo Hardin. And next thing you know, a woman comes into the picture, a petite little pixie woman named Beatrice Reiner. Houdini wasn't always a star. He had a very challenging childhood. His mother was his motivation to succeed. Now Houdini's married, but now he has to provide for Beatrice Reiner. He had a tough time in the early days with them being the Houdinis. Houdini actually had to join the circus in 1895, and that began the early stages of Houdini. So Houdini in the early days really wasn't a star. He was barely struggling and having to join the circus to make ends meet. In his act, he performed great card manipulation, but he also developed the challenge handcuff act. Houdini met a famous agent named Martin Beck, and he says, look, lose all the silly magic and focus in on escapes. Houdini then went to London, England, an unknown, going to Scotland Yard right off the back saying, I am the great American sensation, Harry Houdini, and I challenge you, Scotland Yard, to lock me up in a jail, your most rigorous jail cell, and I, Houdini, shall escape. Well, sure enough, he did. When he returned from Europe back to New York, Houdini was a European sensation using his marketing ability, and he was even doing crazier stunts. One of them was escaping from a straitjacket on a crane upside down in the middle of Times Square with 40,000 plus people around him. He would be challenging people to put him inside a box, inside a barrel. Houdini wanted more excitement. He even challenged people to put him inside this original punishment suit. The punishment suit not only locks your arms up, but also encompasses your entire body like a sleeping bag. Yet Houdini was able to escape. One way you know when you're a star and achieving great amount of success is when people start copying your act. Houdini was getting so frustrated with people duplicating his challenge handcuff act that he had his brother Dash sometimes perform across the street from him. He would rather see his brother Dash, or Houdini as he was known, instead of some other competitor that was just copying Houdini's act. Well, Houdini got tired of it. Houdini was ultra competitive. He wanted to create something that was so dangerous that no other performer would ever dare do.
Ladies and gentlemen, my latest invention, the water torture cell.
Houdini would be locked inside a tank of water, upside down, and he would challenge people to hold their breath as long as Houdini was inside this water torture cell. And Houdini, well, of course he escaped. He originated this trick in 1912. He even came up with it as a play in order for Houdini to copyright the act. And then in 1913, Houdini was performing this amazing stunt around the world. Houdini even challenged people. I give you a certain amount of money if you're able to prove that there was any way of me getting oxygen while upside down inside the water torture cell. Houdini had three parts of his show. He had magic, he had escapes, and then he had debunking the local spiritualists. A pretty effect that Houdini did was have his beautiful assistant on stage. He would then show a jumbo tube empty, and next thing you know, the assistant went ahead and vanished, and she became a beautiful rose bush. Houdini was always intrigued with being the first to do anything that was current at the time. Houdini started dabbling with motion pictures, silent movies in France with Pathé. Houdini loved to hang around famous movie stars like Charlie Chaplin, Fatty Arbuckle, and W.C. Fields. In 1918, he started filming The Master Mystery. The Master Mystery was pretty amazing because it starred Q, the first automaton robot that was ever in a serial movie. Later on, the first movie to actually have a robot was Metropolis, but in the first serial, it was actually this guy, Q. Yep, he tried to kill people and Houdini, and of course, Houdini saves the day. In 1919, he starred in the movie The Grim Game. In the early times of cinematography, could you imagine seeing two airplanes collide, crash to the ground, and everyone gets away? Unbelievable. It was a Paramount movie success. Well, what people don't realize is it wasn't really Houdini that was in the airplane that crashed. It was a stunt double named Robert Kennedy. But Robert Kennedy didn't plan on having the airplanes crash. Regardless, it was an amazing, amazing film.